This is Ivy Unleashed, a Gold Ivy production. Okay, so Jen, what does being seen mean to you?
So I wrote this book called Be Seen. And the purpose of the book really initially was to teach people how to build an audience and how to build a brand and how to put themselves out there. Because my most recent business was a PR agency that we actually sold, that was acquired over the summer. But then our whole entire business has been teaching entrepreneurs and business owners how to build profitable brands online and how to be seen. But when writing the book, I was like, I cannot possibly write a book about being seen and building an audience and building a brand if it doesn't start with being able to see yourself for who you truly are. And in order to be seen by others in the way that makes you feel fulfilled, and I know this only because I was hiding for so long, you have to be able to see real you. You have to be able to be courageous enough to see who you really are, and then even be more courageous enough to allow other people to see that person too. And so this book isn't just about building a brand and creating the audience and all the strategies and all the tactics that come along with that. That is definitely in part 4, but parts 1 and 2 are all about being courageous enough to see yourself, being creative enough to create that version of yourself that you want to be seen as. So taking real you and sprinkling in a little bit of you 2.0 into it. And then the third part is about being connected. And this is really important too, because in order to let other people really see you, you have to also see others. So it's a combination. And so I guess my definition of being seen, first and foremost, is you can't be seen until you can see yourself for who you truly are. And that's what I want my reader to find before they go on their journey. And then it's going to be so much easier for them if they can do that.
Which is so powerful. And I even think of people that aren't in social media. I know that just like moms that are listening, thinking about their children, seeing them in their most vulnerable states, right? Sharing who they are, knowing who they are. Giving your children the best of you requires you to know who you are and allowing yourself to be in that, which means some self-care and making sure you're getting rest and you're taking care of yourself and all of these things that come to mind. But I keep thinking about you having to be like vulnerable enough to share those things and be in the public, like on these platforms at such a great level. Like, what is that like, getting those criticisms or those jabs? Like, how do you handle that with being fully seen?
Well, it's never fun. Like, everybody wants to be liked. Everybody wants to be understood. And people that come online like, I don't give a shit what other people think. I don't care. I would beg to differ. I think that we all care. And I think that that's normal and that's okay to care what people think. It's part of our existence as human beings to want to be liked and want to be included and want to be understood. So yes, I definitely want people to resonate and understand my message and like me. But guess what? When you're putting yourself out there and you're being who you truly are, not everybody's going to be into it. Not everybody's going to understand. And that's awesome, because all those people that don't get it and don't understand aren't my people, and they're somebody else's people. And that's fabulous. It's amazing. So it's, again, what do I want my relationship with that to be? I know there's going to be people that don't like it, that aren't into it, that don't like my reel, that don't like the book, that don't like what I have to say, that are just like, I don't like that girl. That's awesome. Because as long as I'm being my truth and being real Jen and exactly who I am, then I'm going to be attracting only people that are like the type of people that I want to be around. You attract what you are. And I want to deflect or detract or whatever the word is. Like, I want to give the people that aren't into it an opportunity to go follow somebody else. That's A-okay for me. And I always tell everyone, like, if you're worried about what people are like, mean people are saying on the internet, like commenting and stuff like that, no, I have found that nobody that's super successful and happy is taking time to comment mean things about other people on the internet. So if somebody is saying mean things on my posts or on my videos or commenting negatively about me, I just immediately feel compassion and empathy for that person. Because if they're taking time to do that, it means that they're not very happy and they're going through something. So that's my perspective of how I like to shift it. Does it feel good? No. Is it fun? No. But I've shifted the perspective to, oh my gosh, this person's clearly hurting. They're in pain. Otherwise, they would not be just finding, bad things to say about people and taking time to do that. So I'm going to emotionally send them love,
Yeah.
maybe block and delete, maybe respond. I don't know. I haven't completely figured that part out yet, but that's how I deal with it. And that's like the honest truth. You know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that doesn't bother me.
Yeah. I was just going to say, even day to day, like you're saying, kind of becoming that 2.0 version of you. A lot of the people that were there for 1.0 won't like 2.0 because they have to like grieve the loss of that person that maybe wasn't as confident or didn't step into their power or didn't have that loud voice, you know? And so they're like, whoa, who is this? I don't know. And so if they were to talk shit about you, right, it's clearly someone that's hurting or having some feels about whatever you're doing. And so I feel like even day to day, it's great advice to think about, okay, if they're taking time to talk about me instead of just like working on their own life, you know, they're probably hurting or struggling or just need to talk to me about it. It's a tough thing.
Yeah. And something I love about you, Jen, is how you do show up so authentic with your lives every day, getting ready, showing the people really who you are. And then all of your knowledge, just such a wealth of knowledge, just letting the people in and having it. And so this book, I'm curious, what can people walk away with? Like, what is your hope that people walk away, close the book? What is it that they now have in their pocket and in their heart and soul?
Well, I want them to walk away with this way before they close it. So even before the book, I want them to start taking action on that thing, whatever that thing is for them. And I don't want them to just take action on it in the way that other people told them that they should take action on it. I really hope that my reader feels my voice. So when I wrote this book, I wrote it with hope in mind. And I talk about hope in the book. Hope stands for help one person every day. And it's one of my tools that I use to get over the fear of being seen. Because when I focus on talking to one person and I envision that person in my mind and I'm just talking to them and pouring into them and helping them, I don't get nervous anymore. And I don't worry about what people are going to think of me because I'm just focused on helping that person. So when I wrote the book, every single day I opened up my computer and I never got writer's block because I envisioned sitting across from my girl who I was writing it to and just having a conversation with her and talking to her. And I hope that the person reading this, you don't have to be an entrepreneur. You don't have to be a business owner. You don't have to want to build a brand to get something out of this book. Like, I love what you said about, even a lot of moms can get a lot out of this. Dads can get a lot out of this. Somebody that just wants to be seen within their family and their relationships or where they live or their activities that they do or with their children or with themselves, to be seen as the realest version of them so that they can create the most authentic relationships with people and so that they can live the life that they really desire, that feels really good and really juicy and really in the pocket and not exhausting. Because when you found who you really are and you're able to express that person without fear of like, oh, are they going to think of me? Or am I showing up the way I should show up? Or am I building a life that's really for me or what everybody else wanted for me? When you start just being you, it's so freeing and it's so much less tiring. It's less exhausting. There's less overwhelm. There's less all this noise. It just starts to dissipate because you get in the pocket of of the essence of who you are. And I believe that energy is infinite. So I want my reader to be able to tap into that. In the beginning of the book, we talk about how to, like, actual strategies to tapping into real you and really figuring out who that person is and feeling the way that person would feel so you can take action as that person. I want my reader to be able to figure out how to network, even if they're an introvert, so they can start to create really powerful relationships of people that lift them up and support them and love on them and want the best for them. And I really want my reader to start just being seen as who they are and trusting and knowing that if they have a service, a story, or a product that can help people, it's their responsibility to start letting people know that they exist. I'm so grateful. Like, you guys, can I just tell you, the fact that you are doing a podcast and you are brave enough and courageous enough to put something out there onto the internet, there are so many people out there that their lives are going to be changed because you had the courage to be seen. So if you're listening to this right now, like, think about it. Think about if these two decided they didn't want to do this. Think about all the value you've gotten from this podcast and all of the different ways you've shown up in your life that has helped other people, like a snowball effect, because of the way you felt after you listened to this podcast. Imagine if they decided not to be seen.
That means the world. You just said it. And it's so true. And I think what's so powerful about your book is that you're taking those feelings, right? That courageous feeling that you want to instill in them, but then not leaving them hanging there. Like, okay, what do I do next, Jen? Like, you're helping them walk through how to do that, which I think is so powerful because a lot of women especially, they have these feelings, these little hints of what they want, and they sometimes feel courageous to go after it, right? But to have a book that's going to walk through how to do that. And then I think also just to follow you and listen to you, to have, someone that's gone through this, right? That has had different career paths, has kicked ass in multiple facets of the business world, has connected with people in a way that's really powerful. And I'm just so happy that you do both, right? You get us to feel the feelings and walk us through how to get there, but then how to like tangibly put it into action. It's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of action in the book. In fact, at the end of each chapter, because I love to skim books. I love to get my takeaways and then like kind of just open it to a random page. And I wanted my book to have a format and a framework and stories and everything. So you would read it all at once and it would all make sense. But I also wanted my book to be something where you could just open it up to the end of a chapter and get the really quick bullet point takeaways of that chapter. So at the end of each chapter, it says like, here's the mic drop moments from the chapter. This is your quick win, an action step that you can immediately take today to get a quick win right now. And then like a little, put it on a post-it quote from the chapter that you can put on a post-it and put on your mirror or put on your computer. And that's at the end of every chapter. So it's so digestible and really easy to act on, because the law of action, I mean, that's the number one thing. It doesn't matter how much you think about or dream about what you want to do. If you don't do something and you don't take action, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah. And we always say like our motto is brick by brick, because you look at the whole pie, it's so overwhelming. So the mic drop moments, the sticky notes, that's brilliant. That's going to help so many people just get that momentum that they need. They have the feeling, the why, and then, okay, shit, now what do I do about it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And something that's really powerful, I know that you've said that this is in the book too, is having that time, like actually taking the time to sit down and read this book, or taking time to go on a wonder walk. I would love for you to talk about this, because sometimes people don't, they don't sit down and read an entire book, or they don't take a time to do like a 45-minute workout. But like these wonder walks, they sound like they could really transform your life. And I know they have for you. So just for everyone listening, I would love for you to talk about just, okay, you're getting these ideas from the book. You're about ready to take action, but like to embody this person that's about to like do this. Can you talk about how you use wonder walks and what it's done for your life?
Yeah. I love that they are a thing now, that people know what a wonder walk is, because I used to do these walks and they did not have a name. They were just these weirdo walks that I would do around New York City where I would talk to myself. But in New York, nobody cares if you talk to yourself. It's like totally normal. So the way that these were born, I don't even really talk about like how these were created or how I started doing them, so I can give your listeners in on something that no one else knows about. But I used to, when I was single and I was figuring things out and I was just picking my life up and really deciding that I wanted to be intentional about what I wanted to create, but I didn't necessarily really know that much of what I wanted to create. I used to ditch my friends on Saturday nights, and I would intentionally just take the subway all the way downtown and get out at a random stop and put on my headphones and listen to music and walk as if I was the person that I wanted to become. So I would just embody that person, however that person felt. So I didn't necessarily know what that person was doing or what they've accomplished. I just knew how proud she was of herself. I knew how confident she was. I knew like she was so successful and financially free, and she could travel, and she just felt so empowered. And I would embody her, and I would walk around New York City as her. And then sometimes I would envision that my love of my life was walking next to me, and I was holding his hand, and I felt so in love. So I was practicing, again, going back to the reps. I was practicing feeling confident. I was practicing feeling in love. I was practicing feeling like the person that had everything that I wanted. And I would go on these walks also by the water. And I live right on the Hudson River in New York City now. And these are the walks that I do today. And I did them years ago, walking as if I was walking to my dream apartment with floor to ceiling windows with my amazing husband. And I couldn't wait to like go and live our life together. And all of the things that I created on my wonder walks are legitimately the way that I go now. Walk is just my reality on the Hudson River today, which is absolutely wild. So I look at wonder walks as practice being who you want to become. Practice radiating the vibrancy, the energy, the vibrations of the person that you want to be, because when you practice that, you start to feel those feelings. You actually start to walk around the world in your real life as that person. And I believe that you attract opportunities and experiences that are in alignment with who you're representing and who you're becoming. So because it was like I was working out in the gym, I was walking around as that confident person. that I started walking around like that person subconsciously just any time in my life. And so for you, listener, if you're listening, there's really clear instructions on how to do a wonder walk to tap back into real you and get back in the pocket in the book. But the thing that you can do right now after you listen to this podcast is if you want to do it for manifesting the future, you can just go outside or go on a treadmill and put on a song that maybe makes you feel really super sexy and confident and amazing, and just start to like walk as the girl who has it all, or the guy or the person who has gotten there, who's done it, and you don't even need to know what it is, and just practice feeling that feeling. And a lot of cool visions will come when you do that. For me, you guys, this is cool. When I was pitching my book and I was trying to get a publisher, and this was a really anxious time in my life because I really wanted my book to be published by a major publisher. And I was like waiting for my agent to call me to tell me that somebody was going to buy it and somebody wanted it. And I was very nervous. I would go on a ton of wonder walks, just envisioning I was a New York Times bestselling author, envisioning my book was in my hand, and I was just so proud of myself. And I remember coming back from a wonder walk, and and the book was not even sold yet. And I said to Chris, I was holding my book in my wonder walk in my mind, and the book is black. The cover of the book is black. And Chris said to me, Jen, I don't think your book's black. I think that's not a good color for a book cover. I think you want something more bright. And so when I was like, I don't know, my book, that just came to me, my book was black. And in the process of creating the cover of the book, we went through every color in the rainbow, and none of them felt right. And I said, could you just, at the last minute, I said to my designer, just for shits and giggles, just design a black one. Could you just do a black one just for me? I'm not even going to show anyone. That book cover came back black with a neon sign, and I sent it to my publisher, and they were like, oh my God, this is the cover. Look, this is it. And it was black, and I saw it on my wonder walk. So lots of cool creative ideas are going to come when you start doing those wonder walks.
Oh, I love it. And I know everyone listening, majority of you have already gone to the show notes and clicked to buy the book. But if you haven't yet and need to revisit it, Jen, where can everyone get the book?
BeSeenBook.com is where you can go to find out where it's sold. It's sold everywhere. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, anywhere you get a book, you can get Be Seen. But if you go to BeSeenBook.com, it's super, super easy. And if you enter your confirmation number into the little place in the website, you'll get a lot of gifts from me, special freebies and stuff like that.
Oh, we're so excited for everyone. And thank you for taking time out of your busy day, your launch, to sit with us, to share your wisdom with our audience. Like I said earlier, dream come true. Can't thank you enough.
I loved this. This is one of my favorite interviews. I really want to let you all know this, you have something here. Great vibe, great energy, great questions. I felt so at home. So thank you for having me.
Yes, I feel like we're floating. And there's a few things left, Jen, that we always end every episode with. One is our 3 gold stars. So these are just 3 takeaways. If people had to walk away right now, besides, buying the book, because they're going to do that, what 3 takeaways would you give our listeners?
So I want you to think about this quote. One of my mentors said this to me, and I think about it every day. When you love yourself as much as you care what other people think, you'll change your life. So just for today, give yourself some grace. Be kind to yourself and love on yourself a little bit. And spend the energy that you spend scrolling the internet and looking at other people, and take that energy and put it on loving on you. That's number 1. Number 2, go for a wonder walk. Try it. Just go. Just do it today. I promise you, you'll be so happy you did. Take a picture and tag me and tell me that you did it, and I'll reshare it on my Instagram. It's just an action step that you can go take today. And then number 3, if you have a service, a story, or a product that helps people, it's your responsibility to be seen. Visibility is your responsibility, because every day that goes by that you're not making yourself visible to those people is another day that those people are going to go follow someone else or listen to someone else or buy from someone else who's not as good as you, doesn't care as much as you, simply because you're too insecure or afraid about what other people will think to put yourself out there. Don't do it for you. Do it for them.
Woo! Mic drop. Okay, Jen, 3 last rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
What would you say to someone who wants to get into public speaking, but fear is holding them back? And what's also a fear that you're working through right now? Double-sided.
So if fear is holding you back and you want to be a public speaker, I would highly recommend doing the thing you're afraid to do. So when you do the thing you're afraid to do, you take away a lot of the power that fear has over you. It doesn't completely go away, but you get a lot more courageous. So you all know that you two know, but maybe now the listeners know that I go live on Instagram every morning with no makeup on. I put my makeup on Instagram and answer questions, not prepared, just doing it off the cuff every day. The reason that I do that now is to practice speaking in front of people. I want to be a great speaker, so I need to get my reps in, and I can't get on a stage every day of my life. So I use the stage in my pocket, and that's a real live audience, whether it's 5 people, 2 people, or 500 people. There's people that are listening to me speak, and that's me practicing talking to people. So if you want to become a great speaker and fear is holding you back, practice speaking. And the more that you practice, the more courageous you will become in doing it. I'm launching my very first book ever. This is scary. This is so scary. And it's so funny. I'm reading my own book every day to help me move through the fear of launching a book. There's so many fears that come up. Like, is anyone going to buy it? Is anyone going to like it? Is the publisher going to be happy with me? People are actually going to read these stories and they're going to have them forever. Are people not going to like them? Like, believe me, I could go down a 20-minute list of things that I'm afraid of right now. But what is my relationship with this fear? This fear is just telling me that I am on my way to doing something that is probably going to make me learn a shit ton and make me grow a lot. And B, this fear is not going to kill me. The discomfort's going to be really temporary. I'm going to get to the other side and I'm going to be so happy that I did. And if I don't take action, and let's say I didn't launch this book, the pain and the feeling of, oh my gosh, I should have done it. I should have, would have been a hell of a lot worse than the fear that I feel right now. And so it's my responsibility to do it, even though I'm afraid.
Love that. All right. My question, just from following you and knowing how disciplined you are such a badass. You execute over and over. You get your reps in, you're working out, you eat healthy, you do all the things. I'm curious how you get some like play and rejuvenation in so that you don't burn out.
So there's this answer is twofold. Again, my perspective and my relationship with what I'm doing right now is very important. And I am actively knowing that I'm in a season of pushing. I just am. That's the season. And when your mindset is that I'm in the game right now, like you're like the football players that are in the game and they're in the Super Bowl and they're in the fourth quarter, their mindset is I'm going to lay it all out on the field. I'm going to squeeze all the juice out of the lemon. I'm in that season. And when it's over, I can rest. So right now it's like, I'm in battle. This is my season. My season is work, and that's okay. But during my season of work, there are things that I need to have in place, almost like an athlete, in order to perform at my best. So my recovery is part of my season of works, but it's very, very strategic the way that I spread it out. So like you said, exercise, sleep, and eating healthy are my 3 non-negotiables. Those 3 come before everything. They come before work, they come before podcasts, they come before marketing, they come before events, they come before speaking. Because if I'm not rested and got my sleep, eating healthy, and exercising, then I'm not going to be at the top of my game and I'm going to suck. So I have to be disciplined enough to do those 3 things. Those things are prioritized. I block off time to work out no matter what. I block off time to order healthy food wherever I'm traveling. I make it happen. It's a non-negotiable. And then when my recovery is very important to me. So I always know when I'm in a sprint and when I have a day of recovery. It's really important for me to at least know that. It's like a mindset of, because if you're just always working and always running your engines on all fires and you don't know when you're going to rest, then it gets really scary. And you don't know when you can like really get all the gas out of the tank and you know that there's a rest at the end. If you don't know that, then you might burn yourself out. But when I know, like, let's say I've got 7 days where I'm traveling and I'm speaking, but on the 8th day, I turn off, I know it's in my calendar. The phone is off. I'm going to walk around New York City and do jack shit. I'm going to get a massage. I'm going to watch a bunch of baking shows on TV. I'm not going to put any makeup on my face. That is my day. As long as I know that it's there, I can use my energy very productively and knowing that that day is there. And if I need 2 days, those 2 days are there. Usually for me, I'm good with a day right now. But after this whole book launch is over, I know that I've got a vacation plan with my husband. And we're going to go do that. And, it won't be a long vacation because we get really bored, but it'll be a few days and we'll recover. And I think it's all about the mindset almost like an athlete's mindset. If you're in a season, you've got a rest day, you've got to schedule all of those things in to make sure you are you're performing at your best. And so I haven't gotten burnt out because of this. And talk to me tomorrow or next week, maybe I'll tell you a different story. But right now, we're okay.
Oh,
I love
such
that.
good advice.
Yes.
Okay, last question. What is one thing you wish you would have believed sooner that would have gotten you to where you are today faster?
I don't wish I got to where I am today faster, because I think that it was all very, very important that it happened the way that it did. So I'm really grateful that I got to here now and not sooner, because maybe I wouldn't have been in a place where I could have received this or stepped into it or been like what I just told you about recovery. Maybe I wouldn't have known about that. But I guess like the overall advice that I would have given to myself when I was younger is just like, no one cares about, no one's thinking about you the way you think that they're thinking about you. Like, stop worrying about what other people think, because they're busy with their own lives. They're doing their own thing. They're not sitting there focusing on you and judging all of your choices and everything that you're doing and watching everything that you do and judging you. And I think that a lot of us hold ourselves back and don't put ourselves out there and aren't being visible enough and not making videos and not posting and not talking about what we do, because we're scared of what we're going to look like to other people and that other people are going to be judging us. Maybe it's people from high school or our cousins or people from college or people from our past or maybe people that we work with. And honestly, life is too short. I don't want to wake up when I'm 100 years old and say, wow, I didn't do the things that I knew I really wanted to do. And I didn't put myself out there because I was too afraid of what, Susie was going to think of me. And she didn't really care at all anyways, and that would be the ultimate feeling of regret. So I know you're not going to be able to completely stop caring what people think, but understand and embrace that and know that that's human, and then take action anyway, knowing that that person's probably not paying that much attention anyways.
Oh, Jen, you are such a badass. And I just love you are empowering our listeners right now. I want to just soak in this moment. Thank you so much for all the messages that you've delivered today. Cannot wait till this airs. Cannot wait for everybody to have access to you, to read your book. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it so much. And we can't wait to see you in Texas in a couple weeks.
You're coming. I'm so thrilled. You have no idea. This was so fun. Thank you for having me. And I can't wait to give you a hug in real life.
Oh, seriously, we can't wait. Okay, we leave our listeners with a piece of gold. A quote can be from you or one that inspires you. Would you like to send our listeners off with your favorite piece of gold?
I will repeat the Steve Jobs quote that I said in the beginning, and I think it's so powerful and so important. And I'll say the full quote. You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. This approach has never let me down, and it has made all the difference in my life. That's Steve Jobs said it. It's hanging up on my wall in my home, and it's always been true. I never know how it's going to work out when I try to future set and look forward and know how it's all going to happen. But when I look backwards at how everything connected, it always makes sense in the end. So when you're in the shit and you're in the thick of it and stuff is not working out your way and you think this is not what I wanted, please trust and know that you might not find out immediately why that's happening to you, but one day in the future, it will all make sense and all of the dots will connect. And if you can know that in the moment, you can move through it with a lot less fear and a lot more courage.
This is Gold Ivy signing off.
Listen to your truth and go chase your gold.